What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Breaking and Entering podcast. Today, we're going to get into the AFC West preview. I think it's going to be one of the toughest divisions in the NFL next year. But first, Brandon, how are we doing today, sir?
Doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. We had a game last night, a preseason game, little taste of football. We got the Hall of Fame enshrinement this week also. So, yeah, it's good stuff going on. Football is finally about to start in another month or so officially. So let's get into it, shall we?
Yeah, and real quick, and I think they actually got the entire game off. Usually, that Hall of Fame game either gets delayed, ends early, or something with the weather out there. Thunderstorms around this time of year. All right, everyone, let's get to this opening drive. George Karlaftis, he signed a 4-year, $93 million deal to stay with the Chiefs. Noah Fant, he was released by the Seahawks, but he's since been picked up by Cincinnati. Lions defensive tackle Levi Onwuzurike, and I probably butchered that. I'm sorry. He's out for the season with a torn ACL. Titans quarterback Will Levis, he'll miss the upcoming season with shoulder injury. Packers right tackle Zach Tom, he signed a 4-year, $88 million extension. Giants Giants head coach Brian Daboll, he says Russell Wilson is quarterback one heading into the season. Seahawks left tackle Charles Cross, he's expected to be ready for the season after successful surgery on a dislocated finger. Colorado head coach Deion Sanders says he is beaten bladder cancer. Good for him. And big NFC East news, Cowboys linebacker Micah Parsons said on social media he does not want to play for the Cowboys anymore. He added that he submitted his trade request to Stephen Jones. The president, he's calling for the Commanders' ownership to change the team's name back to the Redskins. And Ed's Robo wide receiver, Terry McLaurin, he has requested a trade. Quick thoughts on anything there, especially your wide receiver?
Yeah, Commanders are blowing it.
Commanders are blowing it.
They really
They
are.
really are.
You told me about it yesterday, the day before. I got off work. I saw your text. I was like, I almost threw my phone out the window. I just don't understand. I was looking into it. From what I saw, articles, they're basically age. It seems to be a big factor since he's going to his age 30. I don't know, man. I mean, I saw something. Well, they were saying like basically Courtland Sutton, he's about the same age and he put up the same amount of numbers, so he should have a contract similar to his. But I'm thinking to myself, well, that was Courtland Sutton's best season last year, and Terry's been putting up these numbers basically his entire 5-6 year career, and he's done it with a myriad of different quarterbacks. He gets Jaden Daniels last year, and he puts up career numbers and touchdowns. So I don't understand why you wouldn't want Jaden to go into the year two with his best weapon out there instead of playing hardball with him just because you think he's going to be on the downside of his career. I just don't get it. I mean, model player, model citizen, fans love him, fan favorite, represents the franchise the right way. I think it's a no brainer to sign him with 30 plus million, which is what it sounds like he wants. He wants like a DK Metcalf contract, is what I'm hearing. I think he's worth it. I've said it previous years. I think he's a top 10 wide receiver in this league. So I think he should get paid like one, but I don't know. We'll see. I've been hearing now. I'm seeing freaking trade articles like he should go to the Raiders. We get Jacoby Myers back in return, the second round pick. You won't like this, but I saw the Kansas City Chiefs as another outlook for him. If he went there, I can just imagine the numbers he and Mahomes would do. So yeah, I'm sure you don't like that, but yeah, just Commanders, y'all are really blowing it. I really hope this is just a tactic by Terry and he stays with the Commanders and they pay him what he wants. But if we lose him, I don't even want to think about it. To the Cowboys, though, I'm good for Michael Parsons. I hope there's some way we can get you. I remember I forgot what the event was. It was some event. I forgot the gentleman's name, but Kevin Durant was there.
Yep.
Michael Parsons was next to him. Somebody was interviewing Kevin Durant. And they asked about Michael Parsons. He's basically saying, "I hope we can get him somehow come to the Commanders." So I doubt they'll make a trade where he gets traded to the Commanders. But good for Michael Parsons. But you got any thoughts on any of these headlines?
Yeah, I agree 100% with you as far as Terry goes. A couple more things I've been saying through text, but it would be crazy if you all did the same thing that the Steelers did, trade for a wide receiver and then let your guy go, like they did with DK, and then they let George
George
Pickens
Pickens.
go to Dallas. That would be crazy. Um, like you said, everything I agree 100%. With Dallas though, and Michael Parsons, I hope he's gone. Um, like you said, I don't think that he'll end up in DC, but there is that connection there with him and um, Dan Quinn. A lot of those Dallas guys like playing for Dan Quinn, so um, that would be very interesting if somehow they can pull it off. I would say never with that, just because I never thought Dan Quinn would go to Dallas. I mean, go to Washington and be the head coach after being defensive coordinator there. You know, leaving from Dallas to go to Washington. Now, if he had went to another organization for 1 year, then a little bit different. But it's still that possibility, man. Dan Quinn could, they could send the house for him, and it could be an offer that Jerry and them uh, can't refuse. But we'll see. Like he's and please back to Terry McLaurin. Please don't go to the Chiefs, man. Please, Commanders. Yell's ownership, man. Because I know they're probably going to be in play for a wide receiver. You got Rasheed Rice that is a little bit questionable right now. If he's going to start, and I think they're banged up at wide receiver in training camp. So I think they're going to make a play for a wide receiver
Yeah, see what happens.
for sure. Speaking of the Chiefs, last time we saw them on the field, it was a blowout in the Super Bowl, but they've won the AFC West 9 consecutive times. But Ed, where do you see them finishing this season? How do you feel about the Chiefs?
Like I said in the opening introduction, I think the AFC West is going to be one of the tougher divisions in football this year. So I don't know how easy it is for the Chiefs to repeat as the division winners again. I mean, you got the Chargers finish 11-6 in Harbaugh's first season. You got second year of Bo Nix coming in. The Raiders, in my opinion, are going to be good too. I think Geno Smith is a step ahead of the previous quarterbacks they had. So Kansas City, especially coming off that Super Bowl loss, I wonder if they'll have a Super Bowl hangover. But until I see it, as long as they got Patrick Mahomes healthy, Andy Reid healthy, it's kind of hard to count them out. So I still got them finishing right now first in the division. Looking at what they did in the draft, they picked up a tackle out of Ohio State, their first round, Josh Simmons. I know they're hoping that he can help make that line more secure, especially after what happened in the Super Bowl. They traded away Joe Tooney, guard they picked up last year. He was traded to the Chicago Bears. So we'll see if they this line that they have this year is new and improved. And then, like you said, Rasheed Rice with the ruling that got handed down with the car accident he had and him fleeing the scene last year, if he's going to get suspended, and how long the suspension is going to be and what the effect that will be. Like they did re-sign Hollywood Brown. Hopefully, he can stay healthy because I think he'll be a good addition. They also picked up tight end Robert Tunyon. He might be more of a rotational type role, but another weapon for Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion. So we'll see how they do. I do like some of the additions they made. Like I said, the lineman they picked up in the draft, Josh Simmons. They also picked up a defensive tackle in the Omar Norman Lott out of Tennessee. So I want to see, it seems like Andy Reid and the front office, they usually find a guy or two in the draft. It could be a late round pick. I want to say it was a couple years ago, maybe 2 years ago, they picked up a lineman in the 6th or 7th round, and now he's like one of the best linemen in football. They signed him to a huge contract. So I mean, we'll see what happens. I was kind of hoping when they had that Super Bowl last year, D Hop was on the team, DeAndre Hopkins. I was hoping he would win one, but he's with you guys now, or excuse me, he's with the Baltimore Ravens now. So I want to see if that has any effects on the that wide receiver room. But yeah, man, I do think they'll finish first in the AFC West, but I think it's going to be harder. They had a little bit of luck, maybe a lot of bit of luck. With some of the games last year, they blocked a potential game-winning field goal against the Broncos last year that they would have lost that game. So I think they're gonna. I feel like they're gonna lose at least one game. Uh, they might split with a couple of teams in the AFC West. I'm still trying to figure out. I'm still debating on who, but I can definitely see them going 1-1 with a couple of teams in the AFC West. But at the same time, I think they'll have enough. Like I said last year, they're like the Patriots now, where they just find ways to win games and fluky stuff happens where they win games. I can see that continuing as long as Mahomes stay healthy. Give me the Chiefs to come out of the AFC West or win the AFC West again. What are your thoughts, though?
So I got three burning questions about this team. Can they continue to win close games like they did last year? I want to say 11 of them came down to one possession or less. The last team I remember to do something like that was the Vikings a couple years ago, and they struggled the following season. Number two, how will Kelsey respond? He just didn't seem like himself all of last year, especially in the Super Bowl. Career low numbers, drop passes. Um, he didn't look focused sometimes as well. And
He
number
looked
three is
old.
that offensive. What do you say?
I said he looked old.
Yeah, yeah, and I hope it continues this year. But is the offensive line really fixed? That's my third question, y'all. Um, I know you mentioned some of the pieces. You talk about Josh Simmons. He's banged up. I think they're saying that he's going to be ready by week one. They've retooled, but we got to see it. I mean, Philadelphia did not blitz one time in that Super Bowl and got to Mahomes six times. You could say what you want to about the injuries and the reshuffle and all that stuff for that game, but the offensive line looked like the swinging doors at Walmart and Best Buy on Black Friday. For real, for real. It was just bad out there. But looking into this season, though, special teams seems to be the most solid unit. You can call me crazy, but you got Harrison Butker, Matt Ariza. They're too solid in their positions. I think the secondary is a bit of concern for me. You had Justin Reed go to New Orleans. Um, he wasn't not only just a defensive back, he was a great leader. He was also a special teams backup kicker as well. He's kicked a couple extra points, a couple extra field goals when push came to shove and they had to use them. So they got two homegrown guys that's going to fill. It looks like Jaden Hicks and Brian Cook. Looks like it's going to be the starters there at safety. Opposing teams, they still got to account for Trent McDuffie, Nick Bolton, the big guys on defensive side of the ball. I always talk about a man, George Karlaftis, and of course Chris Jones. I don't think the defense will be as dominant as it was, but I mean they still got some pieces for sure. Can never count out Mahomes. We all know that. He has that championship DNA, like Tony Romo says. Um, they did. They will host the Chargers. Um, excuse me. Yeah, they host the Chargers week one. They host Philly, the Giants, Baltimore, at Jacksonville. Um, those are just some really good defensive teams. So we'll see how they go. Um, in the start of the season. And then they got October 7th against your Commanders. Y'all should not be any slouch this year. We all expect, um, good things from Jaden Daniels and company. Of course, they got Buffalo, Denver, and Dallas as well. Probably the toughest schedule that I've seen on paper for them in quite a while. It always seems like they have a pretty easy schedule. But yeah, I can't get over the fact that Philadelphia consistently blitzed. Consistently got after Mahomes without blitzing. The offensive line was basically non-existent. I got to see if they fix those issues. I'm actually taking them to take a slight step back, and I'm not being biased because I do not like the Chiefs, as y'all know. I got them finishing second place in the AFC West. I think every team is improved, and we'll go on to the others and see where I got who I got taking it from them for the first time in 9 or 10 years.
Gotcha. All right, let's get into Los Angeles Chargers next. Second year for Harbaugh, finished, I believe, 11-6 last year. Brandon, what are your thoughts on the LA Chargers going into the next season?
So yeah, I think this franchise in a tad bit of a transition. Both of their top running backs from last season, they're gone. Their defensive leader Joey Bosa, he was let go. Former high draft pick corner Asante Samuel Jr., he's gone. He's a free agent still. And longtime receiver Mike Williams, he came back. He signed with the team in free agency, and then he retired out of nowhere. Um, Defensive side of the ball, they are really good there, man. I didn't realize they led the league in points per game allowed, only 17 .1 last season. Chargers fans, they're hoping that Khalil Mack and Derwin James can produce. Because other than that, it's not a lot of names there. They produce, but it's not a lot of names. They focused on the offensive side of the ball though in the draft. They took 5 out of the 9 guys of their draft picks were from the offensive side of football, including the back out of North Carolina, Amarion Hampton. Um, 3 really good backs came to the AFC West in the draft, and he's one of them. Then, of course, they got Najee Harris, who has not missed a game in his career. He's dealing with that non-football related injury, with the fireworks incident. But they from what I saw last week, Jim Harbaugh was on NFL Network last Saturday, and he said that progress is there. So last season they came out the gates running the ball. Man, those first 2 games, damn near historic numbers. That's Greg Roman's mo. It'll be interesting to see their run pass ratio this season. I think they need more production out of the tight end position. They got a rookie 5th rounder, Oronde Gadsden, the second. He's a guy I'll be watching this year, 6'5", 236 pounds. I think he can be a solid target for Justin Herbert because he doesn't necessarily have great receivers. He has a really good one in Lad McConkey. Could have won, was definitely a top contender for Offensive Rookie of the Year. So I think he'll continue to show up and make plays for them. But yeah, I think the Chargers are in the middle of the pack. I'm expecting them finish 3rd in the AFC West this coming season, but that could be enough to get them in the playoffs again. I think they sent 3 teams to the playoffs last year, so it's not saying that they won't make the playoffs. I just think they will not. They'll be 3rd place. What about you? How do you feel about the Chargers?
Yeah, I got some questions about the Chargers too. Like you mentioned with the wide receivers, they signed Mike Williams in the offseason, but unfortunately he retired. I think he was dealing with some injuries. I know he tore his ACL a few years, maybe a couple years ago, and I think the injury just overcame him because when he was with the Chargers with Justin Herbert, he had a career year. So I thought that would have been a huge signing for him. But now that he's retired, who's going to be the other guy? Like you mentioned, Lad McConkey, he was really good as a rookie last year. I'm sure he would be even better this year. But who else is going to step up for them? Um, as you mentioned with Harbaugh, they do run the ball a lot. They try to bolster that offensive line. They drafted Joe Alt last year. They got Rashawn Slater. He's one of the best guards or offensive linemen in the game. So I think the offensive line is going to be better. And as you mentioned, these running backs that they drafted, Amarion Hampton and picked up Najee Harris. I'm sure there's going to be Najee Harris is going to be running back 1, I'm believing, just because of the seniority and experience he has. But eventually they're going to have a 1-2 punch between Amarion Hampton and Najee Harris. So I'm thinking there's going to be a run-heavy team, dominate the time of possession, run the ball, then throw the ball when they need to. I don't want to say that like Justin Herbert's a game manager because he can sling the rock, but I think they're going to focus more on the run this year. As you mentioned, the loss of Joey Bosa, how much is that going to affect this defense? I feel like it's going to have a huge impact if they can't find a pass rusher to, replicate the, impact he had on that side of the ball. So I'm interested to see if they lose any sauce just because Joey Bosa is no longer on the team, or if they'll be able to, find some other pieces just to maybe by the defensive lineman by committee who can come in there and have some impact on rushing the passer and getting to the running backs as well. So I'm interested to see how they go. Um, they signed Mekhi Becton, another lineman. So I think that's another good piece for them for the offensive line as well. I think they're going to finish. It's like a tie for me with I think there's going to be 2 teams vying for second. I think there's going to be 2 teams in the AFC West that are going to have similar records at the end of the season. I think the Chargers are going to be one of those teams. So I got them in a tie for second place right now. I think they're going to build off what they did last year. Honestly, that 11-6 finish. I think the running game is going to be a little bit better, even though I like Gus Edwards and my guy J.K. Dobbins last year. He rushed for 900 yards. I think Najee Harris and the new guy coming to Mario Hampton will have a little bit more juice, and they'll be able to run the ball, dominate on the offensive side. Just my question, little bit is on the defensive side, and who are they going to find to, they signed Jalen Rager, another wide receiver, but he's not really a guy who put up huge numbers. I think he can stretch the field, but want to see if they can find another weapon on the passing game to go along with Lab McConkey. But right now, I got them in a tie for second place in the AFC West. So let's see. Move on to another team in the AFC West. That is the Las Vegas Raiders. They had a pretty big offseason, in my opinion. New head coach, Pete Carroll. They also signed John Spytek, I believe, as the general manager. Traded for Geno Smith. Him and Pete Carroll are going to have a reunion there. They had a bunch of picks in the draft. First pick they had was Ashton Genty. Uh, don't know if he'll be able to, do what Josh Harris used to do for them back in the day. Excuse me, Josh Jacobs used to do for them back in the day. But he's pretty touted as a running back. Had huge numbers out there in Boise State in college football. So
Yep.
I expect him to be in the running for offensive player of the year, offensive rookie of the year, all those good things like that. This is another team they brought in Chip Kelly as OC. I'm kind of iffy on him, but he keeps getting jobs. So I mean, he must know something. So I think the offense will be a little bit better just because Geno Smith is there. I think Pete Carroll is going to have those guys coached up, trying to move the culture into a good positive position. Tom Brady, even though he's a part-time owner, minority owner, I think he'll have some juice to have those guys playing a little better as well. So I like where this team is going. They're just in a tough division right now, though, man. I think they're going to finish last, but I honestly think everybody in this division is going to finish 500 or better. It's either going to be or maybe 8 and 9 at best, and that's
Yeah.
due to somebody getting injured. But honestly, I think this team is going to be right there in the fight. Um, I really like Geno Smith. My concern though is the wide receivers too. They did pick up Jack Beck in the second round. They picked up another wide receiver in the fourth round, Dante Thornton out of Tennessee. Jack Beck, he's out of TCU. I think they have Jacoby Myers too, but I'm wondering, if that passing game is going to be enough. I know they got Brock Bowers, who, as a rookie, was pretty much one of the top 3 tight ends in the league. I think he's going to be an All-Pro, All-World type tight end coming out of the backfield again. So I don't know if they'll have enough in the passing game, and I want to see what they do on the defensive side of the ball. I like Max Crosby a lot, but we'll see what they do out there. But right now, I got them finishing last. But like I said, I don't think they're going to be any slouches. They play Kansas City well all the time. Max Crosby gets under Patrick Mahomes' skin, so I can see them beating them one time too. But right now, I got them finishing last. But I got them like 9-8, 10-7 type. So we'll see. What are your thoughts on the Raiders, man?
Yeah, I agree. Shout out to this Raiders front office, the new regime there. They got a beast at number 6 overall, Ashton Genty, as you mentioned, 2,600 yards there at Boise State. He's my pick already. I'm just spoil it for our offensive rookie of the year. I think he'll get a good 1,600 at the minimum there in Vegas. He's a monster for sure. They got Jack Beck, as you mentioned. He's from TCU. He's a home run threat. He should be him and Genty should be um, cornerstones to this franchise for years to come if they take care of him out there. But bottom line for this team, they got to focus on keeping teams out of the end zone for real. 25th in points per game allowed last year. We know Max Crosby, what he can do. He got paid this offseason. Christian Wilkins is gone now. He was a force in the middle. He did miss several games, but he was making plays when he was out there. So we'll have to see how they account for him. Try to fill that spot there in the middle of the defensive line. Ed's former safety, Jeremy Chin, he's there now. He was a solid player, can really do a number of things, in my opinion. He's a great run defender and a tone setter. But they got guys on the offensive side of the ball as well. Brock Bowers, he's one of the best young tight ends, him and Sam Laporta. Jacoby Myers is a guy I like as well. I think him and Beck will gel good together for Geno Smith. Thinking my old safety. Geno Smith, he's definitely an upgrade. The guys they had the last couple of years just could not get it done. They was just in and out of the lineup. Some injuries were involved, but it was mainly just poor gameplay. They get somebody in there, they just throw interception. They got to bench them, and it was just a mess. But I'm not 100% sold on this Pete Carroll hire. Um, he's a great coach. I know he won a Super Bowl out there, but that Seattle roster to me was different. Um, we'll see. I know he's got a 3-year contract. We'll see how it goes. I think it's more so of a band-aid situation. I think they wanted somebody in there that can demand respect of the locker room. He is more of a player's coach. Um, I know Antonio Pierce, he was one of my guys, um, but I think he had lost control of that locker room down the stretch just because of so many, they was just losing games left and right. But I agree. Fourth place finish for this team, but they will be, I think, as you mentioned, AFC West is going to be one of the best divisions of football. I think they can end up in that 7, 8, 9 win range there in the AFC West. All right, everyone turning the page. You're watching the B&E Podcast. The Broncos, they're on the radar of a lot of people this season. Sean Payton, he is entering year 3 and hoping to top the Chiefs in the AFC West standings. Um, on paper, there's no position on this roster that stands out as a concern for me. Sean Payton's offense, we never know who the running back is going to be. It seems like he has a different back in there for every type of player or every down or every type of situation. They do got J.K. Dobbins, the guy you mentioned earlier. They drafted a second rounder, R.J. Harvey. Um, he's expected to have a big role in this offense as well. Bo Nix coming off a stellar rookie campaign. You give him a full off season. He's getting his offensive coordinator back. They added an elite tight end around him and Evan Ingram, a veteran guy that can help, a younger quarterback. I think he's going to ball out again. The defensive side of the ball, it starts and ends with Patrick Surtain the second, but they got showstoppers for real, y'all, on every level. Nick Bonita, I talked about him several times last year because he had a good game against us. He has a knack for the football. He had 2 pick sixes last year, 13 and a half sacks. Zach Allen, he also had a good game against us. He added another 8.5 sacks from the left end defensive side of the line. Vance Joseph runs that 34 defense out there, and then he got another toy, former Niners safety Talonia Hufunga, and I know I messed up his first name. I'm sorry. Banged up last season, but he is a top 10 safety when he's out there for real. We all seen him play. Second corner, Riley Moss. He struggled a little bit against those speedy wide receivers. I know he had a bad game against Cincinnati, but who doesn't? My corners struggled. Have been struggling for years against them. He just got picked on left and right by T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. So they did with their first overall pick. They got Jade Barron out of Texas. He's a speedy guy. He's got long arms, so he should be a good addition as well. And he can learn from the defensive player of the year, the reigning defensive player of the year, as I mentioned before, Patrick Surtain. Um, Honestly, I think Denver is going to be one of the best teams in the AFC. They could be one of the best teams in the National Football League. Honestly, it's hard to say that somebody's going to dethrone the Chiefs after 9 years. But the bottom line, and I think you mentioned this as well, they were 1-1 against the Chiefs last year. The final game, Week 18, I know Kansas City rested all their starters, so it kind of was a gimme game. But the other game, they was one special teams adjustment and one blocked field goal away from beating them, and would have been 2-0. And you could have said then, okay, they've taken that step, and that's with a rookie quarterback. That's pretty damn good. But yeah, um, I got the Broncos at number one. How do you feel about them?
I got them tied for second with the Chargers. I think they'll have another step up. Like you mentioned, the defense. Hufanga reminds me of a guy who used to play for the Steelers back in the day. I won't mention his name, but I think even though we talk about, he looks like him anyway. They
Yeah,
also picked up Dre Greenlaw. This is going to be his second year removed from that Achilles injury he suffered in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs a couple years ago. I think that could be a sneaky good addition for that already stacked defense. As he mentioned, a lot of the players on the league. I mean, Patrick Surtain, the second man, best cornerback in the league.
yeah,
Debatable top three at least in my opinion, but
sure.
definitely really really good cornerback. Like as you mentioned, they added another cornerback in the first round, so I'm expecting the defense, especially the secondary, along with Hufanga, to be even more better. So it's going to be tough for Mahomes out there. And as you mentioned, some of the pass rushers they got, linebackers they got, guy had 13 sacks last season. There's going to be some head hunting going on. So I think that defense is going to be flying around. And like how you mentioned the running backs, and you talked about R.J. Harvey, who they drafted in the second round. They got rid of Javonte Williams. He's with the Cowboys now. He was basically their leading rusher last year. So I want to see how the rushing game looks. But Bo Nix himself, he was pretty athletic. He could scramble a little bit too. So I'm expecting him to have at least 500 yards rushing, in my opinion. But who's going to be the running back that steps up for him? Is it going to be running back by committee, or is this new running back they got out of the draft, R.J. Harvey? Is he going to be the bell cow pick back for them? Like you mentioned though, Evan Ingram. I think that's going to be a really nice addition to the offense, going along with Cortland Sutton and wide receivers they have there. I think Evan Ingram is going to help out a lot. So right now, I got them tied for second. It all depends on Bo Nix, in my opinion, and his development. I think at worst he'll be just as good as he was as last year, if not even better. As long as he got Sean Payton, a good coach, and that defense behind them, they should be good and battling for winning the AFC West. So I got them tied for second right now, the Chargers. That's how I see it. But I'm not. I won't be surprised if they win the AFC West too. That's like I said. I think this is going to be one of the toughest divisions of football. I could definitely see Chargers, Broncos, or the freaking Chiefs coming out. The AFC West is number one. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos do finish them first as well. But we'll see. Right now, leaning toward the Chiefs is first. Chargers, Broncos tied for second, and then Raiders in that last spot. But like I said, everybody 500 at least or better, in my opinion. All right, everyone, we're going to get into some more off-season storylines we want to talk about. First, the Browns quarterback battle. Joe Flacco, they got Kenny Pickett. They picked up two quarterbacks in the draft. Dylan Gabriel, and they're pretty sure they shocked everyone when they drafted Shador Sanders in the fifth round. My opinion right now, I think Joe Flacco is going to win it out. I think Kenny Pickett might have been favored, but I know that hamstring injury he suffered last week probably set him back a little bit. Joe Flacco, when he comes in, I mean, he's a true vet, man. He looked good with the Colts, looked good when he played with the Browns a little bit. So I think he gives them the best chance to play. I think he gives them the best chance to win games right now, in my opinion. But down the line, going into the season, I could see Kenny Pickett getting it in, and then just the way I was, because there was some comments Jimmy Haslam made where he basically was like, Shador Sanders, that was the pick that the GM made. Like he had nothing to do with it. So he could do everything right, in my opinion. I don't think they'll get a shot unless everybody breaks their leg or something happens and they have to sign him. Even then, I could see every quarterback on the roster getting hurt and they still bring somebody, they bring in Colin Kaepernick before they give Shador Sanders a chance, in my opinion. I think the odds are just too stacked against them. I don't even know why they picked it. Did you hear those comments about what Jimmy Haslam said, where he said, I was like, so why did y'all if you don't want him, you're the owner. I don't know. But I really doubt Shador Sanders will see any football this year. I'm sure he'll play in the preseason. If he likes it up in the preseason, it's going to put even more pressure on him. But I think it's Joe Flacco's job to lose, and I only see him losing that job through injury or if he just falls off a cliff, as Max Kellerman used to say back in the day. But I got Joe Flacco as a starting quarterback for right now, and then Kenny Pickett if he doesn't do it, and then Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders. I'm just going to give it to Dylan Gabriel because I really think they don't like Shador Sanders. I know the owner doesn't seem to like him with those comments he made. So yeah, I don't think Shador Sanders is going to see any football this season. He's either going to get put on IR or something, or put on the practice squad, in my opinion. What are your thoughts about it, though? The Browns quarterback battle, the situation.
Yeah, let me go back to Jimmy Haslam real quick before I forget. I think I texted back to you that he's a clown, and he always has been a clown, and he's part of the reason why they haven't been able to win. Okay, he's one of those owners that are up there with the idiots. Your boy Dan Snyder was up there for a while. Jerry Jones is up there. Him and there's a few more. Clown. Okay, of course you don't. Or you wasn't gonna pick up. That's why you have a general manager. That's why you hired a general manager. If you want to be general manager, you be like Jerry Jones. You make the selection yourself. But you should have, as owner, should have lied your ass off right in front of the camera and said, "Okay, I agree with what my GM and my coaches and my scouting team decided to do." That's what you should have said. That's the reason why they continue to lose because I mean part of that aura, persona, whatever you want to say, it just sticks around the organization. You know what I'm saying? It just do. I mean, that's part of the reason why they always been bad, in my opinion. But to the quarterback situation, I think as you said, I agree. Joe Flacco will likely win this quarterback competition. I think even before Kenny Pickett got banged up, he was going to be the guy. Had some success there a couple years ago. Helped lead them to the playoffs. The offensive system is still the same, so it's easier for him to come back and basically fit right in and just get a rapport with the new guys as opposed to have to learn the whole offense like Gabriel Sanders and Kenny Pickett. Um, Backup though, I give that one to Shador. I think it changed with this whole Kenny Pickett injury. We don't know how serious it is 100%. I can't remember exactly how long he's going to be out. I think, and that going back to Haslam real quick, he'll like Shador Sanders when he starts selling jerseys and the crowd start selling seats. If he get in there and start playing, he'll like him then because they had that money in his pocket. It'll change real quick. But I think he'll be the backup, in my opinion. I think he can sit behind Flacco and learn from him. At least, give it a gotta give it a chance, in my opinion. Honestly, the third quarterback spot, I think it's a little bit in limbo right now. I originally thought Kenny Pickett was going to be number 3, but he got banged up, so I can honestly see him getting released or traded. If somebody quarterback goes down between now and then. I mean, because Kenny Pickett ain't no starter. Be for real. That guy's nobody's starter. Okay, unless you one of the franchises like the Browns, where you just don't have a legitimate number one, and nobody looks good in camp. But I think Dylan Gabriel will end up on the practice squad. I think it'll be Flacco, Shador, and Kenny Pickett, and Gabriel will be on the practice squad. We'll see if he stays though, because they can pull from your practice squad. Other teams can. All right. We've got another segment. This offseason is called Step Forward, Step Backwards. Ed and I will reveal how we feel. Year 2 will go for some of the signal callers from 2024, mainly that first class of signal callers. It was 5 of them, and they're all slated to be starters right now. Let's start with Bo Nix. I think it's a step forward for him. Sean Payton, and funny, we were just talking about the Broncos. They added that rookie running back out of UCF, RJ Harvey, along with was it J.K. Dobbins, I believe? Yeah, to help this run game even more. He's got Mims and Sutton back for another year, who are solid. They're not great, but they're solid. Great offensive line out there, always has been good. They added in Evan Ingram, as I said, solid guy in his position. He's a veteran. He'll help Bo Nix in the year 2. And then he's got a great defense that will help put him on short fields. Those guys were good at turning over the ball, and they'll create short fields for this offense. I know Bo Nix threw 12 interceptions last year. I think I'll see that number decreasing again. He's got the full off season, or he had the full off season to improve on his game, and I'm sure Sean Payton was in his ear left and right this off season and continued through training camp. Not sure how much he'll play in preseason, but I think it's a step forward for Bo Nix. What about you?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. If he doesn't have a step forward, he'll play the same at the least. I don't think he has to do too much. Like you mentioned, the team overall is really good. Pieces on both sides of the ball, playmakers everywhere. I don't think he has to do too much. Not saying he will be just a game manager. I'm sure he can go out there and win some games if need be. But I tend to agree with you. I think he'll take a step forward. I think Sean Payton and those guys will open up the offense even more this year. Let him throw the ball a little bit more down the field, and we'll see what happens. But I tend to agree with you. I think he'll take a step forward. Let's talk about Michael Penix, Atlanta Falcons quarterback, came in towards the end of the year last year. He gave us a hell of a game. So when I talk about us, I mean the Commanders. I tend to think he's going to take a step forward too. In the little action I did see of him, he looked poised out there. Was able to throw the ball some. He's got some pieces around him too. I like Drake London a lot. B. John Robinson, in my opinion, is a top 3 back in the out of the running back, so I think he's gonna be good. Kyle, I mean, I'm just gonna leave that alone. I think the tight end, sometimes he's great, sometimes he's not. I don't know if that was a lot of Kirk Cousins or if that was Kyle Pitts. I don't know, but I think with Michael Penix, he should be able to have a good rapport with Kyle Pitts. We'll see. So I tend to think Michael Penix will take a step forward too. We'll have a off season, just him out there, not have to worry about no QB competition or anything like that. Full off season to work, learn the offense even more. And yeah, I think he'll take a step forward. What do you think?
Agreed. As you mentioned, played well down the stretch when he got the chance. I think it was the final 3 games of the year where they decided to put him in. His top 3 receivers are back under contract. We know he can make every deep throw out there. I think this offense can go to some higher heights with him. Kirk Cousins, he used to rely on Mooney a lot. So we'll see if MPJ does the same. I think Moody can really stretch this field for him, and again, he can throw a deep ball. That's what he was known there at the University of Washington. So we'll see how it goes. I agree. Step forward.
Caleb Williams of the Bears. I want to say he tests a step forward, but the Bears are the Bears. They did bring in Ben Johnson, used to be a former coordinator with the Lions, so I'm sure that'll help in his development. But new year, new head coach. He struggled a lot last year. I think that had a lot to do with just the mismanagement of him. I'm thinking about one of the games where they had a timeout late in the game. I think it was against the Lions on Thanksgiving or something, and they just let the time run off the clock. I was like, "You're gonna call a timeout? You're gonna call a timeout?" I think they let like 18 seconds go off the clock before they finally called a timeout with like 4 seconds left, and they lost a damn game. Um, I like Caleb Williams just because he's a local product out of the DMV area, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he was so the team stunk last year, especially after that Hail Mary loss to my Commanders. They took a nosedive, so it's kind of hard to say he'll take a step backward just because how bad the team was. But I can see him out of all the quarterbacks left, not taking how should I say, is not taking as much of a step forward as other guys think will do. I can see him being at least to take a step forward. I don't know if he'll take a step backwards just because how bad they were last year. I mean, but if you look at his numbers, I think he threw for 3,000 yards. Let me look up his numbers real quick. But I don't want to say he's going to take a step back, but I just don't know. Yeah, he threw for 3,500 yards last year, 20 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions. But the team was just god awful anyway. So I think he'll take a step forward. But out of all the quarterbacks, I'm not sure if he'll be up there with the second year quarterbacks. So, what do you think about him?
Step back for me. I haven't been
Yeah,
high on Caleb Williams. Yeah, I haven't been high on Caleb Williams since he won that Heisman, and that was his junior year at USC. I think his senior year wasn't as good as, of course, the Heisman year, and of course,
yeah.
last year he played decent last year. You mentioned 3,500 yards. It wasn't that bad. Um, but I just don't know. I gotta see if the offensive line could keep him off the ground too. He was sacked a lot last year. That's a big problem. I know they retooled as well. They're like Kansas City, tried to throw all that money out at these guys and get them in free agency and draft. So we'll see what it looks like. Everybody's talking good about the Bears on NFL Network and ESPN and all that stuff. I just don't know. And I don't like that they didn't bring back Keenan Allen either. I think he may not have had his best year, but he's a solid veteran for a young quarterback. I think he definitely wasn't a harm for him. He definitely would have been good for him to keep around for another year. But another thing that's been catching headlines a lot this offseason is they have never had a 4,000-yard passer. So I would like to see him get that, whether it's this year, next year, down the line. They've never had a 4,000-yard passer, and that's something that it's just been left and right. I've seen it on NFL Network and ESPN when they talk about the Bears. So I think it's a little bit of a step back for him. All right, a lot of talk out of Foxborough. Number 3 overall pick of last year's draft, Drake May. They say Josh McDaniels is the man, but he's back as offensive coordinator. He's never been good without Tom Brady, in my opinion. Um, I think it will be a step back. Uh, Another offensive coordinator change for a young quarterback. That's never good, in my opinion. Stephon Diggs, they signed him 3-year contract, pretty big deal. The other guys, he's got one or two other receivers, I think, that played decent for them. But again, this is another one that had offensive line issues. If I think him and Caleb Williams were two of the most sacked quarterbacks a season ago. So another minor note: a passing game has never been good under Mike Vrabel. I mean, a lot of people like him being there. He's with the Titans and all, but the run game was good down there. They had Derrick Henry, and they played good defense down there. They never really had a good passing game, so we'll see how it goes. I think it's a little bit of a step back for me with Drake May and the Patriots. What about you?
Yeah, man, it's a lot of. It seems like it's always a lot of hype with New England quarterbacks. I mean, first it was your boy Mac Jones, mac and cheese. He flamed out. Now it's Drake May. A lot of hype going to this new season, in my opinion, for him, especially with Stephon Diggs, like you mentioned, new OC, new head coach. I tend to agree with you. I think he might take a slight step back. I gotta see. I don't know if he has enough weapons on his side of the ball to, help him out. I like Stephon Diggs a lot. He is coming off an ACL injury. He is getting up there in age too, so we'll see. But I tend to agree with you. I think he'll take a slight step back. If anything, he'll play about the same, maybe a little forward, but I don't think he's going to take a leap or anything like that, in my opinion. So yeah, I tend to agree with you on Drake May, but we'll see. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. I'll talk about it more when we preview the AFC East. That's for sure.
Yep.
Jaden Daniels, my boy, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Wonderkin, uh, godsend miracle for the Washington Commanders. I'm leaning towards a step forward, but it's really hard. I'm talking about winning. Really hard as a rookie. I mean, going back to the NFC Championship game, going to be really hard to do. But him as a player, him as a quarterback, I think he can take a step forward. Even with the Terry McLaurin situation going on, just the way he operates out there, he's getting better game by game, in my opinion. Um, he can be one of those guys, in my opinion, like Patrick Mahomes, like Tom Brady back in the day, where he can take me and you out there, and we might get a reception and a touchdown. To be honest with you, but I'm just saying that just to go back to Terry McLaurin. You saw what Randy Moss and Tom Brady did. You see what Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill did. Why the hell when you let him and Terry McLaurin try to do the same thing? I'm sorry, I'm going off a tangent with Terry McLaurin again, but Commanders, can you please sign Terry McLaurin? That's going to help Jaden Daniels even more in his development. But back to this though, I think Jaden Daniels is going to take a step forward. I think he's going to get into the MVP conversation, in my opinion. I think he'll be a top 7 MVP candidate. I want to say top 5, but I want to slow my roll a little bit. But I definitely think Jaden Daniels is going to take a step forward. Hopefully, the offensive line is improved. But Jaden Daniels himself as a quarterback, step forward. Yes, I'm being a homer. Yes, I'm biased. I'm a Commanders fan. I don't give a damn. Step forward. What are your thoughts, Brandon?
Not being biased, I agree. Step forward for me, Ed's franchise quarterback. Two main reasons: Cliff Kingsbury's back for another season, always good. Again, that when that offensive coordinator comes back for year two, it's better than when they disappear anytime down the line. Honestly, and then Zach Ertz re-signed. Him and Ertz had a really good connection down the stretch last year in the playoffs. Um, I think that Jaden Daniels will be given more command of this offense. I think he'll be given a little bit more ability to change plays, um, and all that kind of stuff at the line of scrimmage. And I'm also a fan of Luke McCaffrey. I'm thinking of the Chargers wide receiver. I know he didn't get in the end zone for y'all last year, but he's not a starter either. But I know, Ed, you're not gonna like when I say this, but it could possibly change with the developments in the next couple weeks. But with that being said, I do think that they're going to work things out with Terry McLaurin and even off topic, Micah Parsons. So I think Luke will be a good slot receiver or a good guy to come in there. When y'all got to stretch the defense out and throw 4 or 5 wide out there. I think he'll be good for him. But yeah, definitely a step forward for me, 100%.
Yeah. All right. Hall of Fame game was last night. Chargers blew the doors off the Lions. Trey Lance might have saved his career with the game, even though it's a preseason game, but we'll see how it goes. But we're going to talk about the enshrinees of this year's class. You got Jared Allen, defensive end, played a lot of his years with the Vikings. Eric Allen, cornerback, defensive back. Antonio Gates, tight end, and Sterling Sharp, wide receiver. I'm familiar with all of these guys. When I used to play Madden back in the game, I think I used all of these guys in the game. Even in like Madden Classic mode, I would use Eric Allen. I think he played for the Chiefs a lot. Salute to Sterling Sharp finally getting in. Had a short career, but I think he was like a 3-time All-Pro. Won the Triple Crown one year. It was a debate between him and Jerry Rice, who was the best receiver. When he only played 7 years, had to retire due to the neck injury. But definitely think is deserved going in. Antonio Gates, just super tough. I remember playing with him a lot in Madden. I had Madden '06 back in the day. And I would, even if I was playing against him, I'm like, oh, Lord, I know Antonio Gates going to do some bullshit. But really good tight end, put up a lot of numbers, really good with the Chargers. Eric Allen, he was a little bit before my time, but I am familiar with him. I saw him a lot over the years on TV and stuff too, talking game too. And then Jared Allen, Vikings, mostly what I remember him playing with, but I know he played with some other teams as well. I think he played with the Chiefs a little later in his career. Can't remember if he won a bowl with them or not, but I definitely remember Jared Allen. Salute to all these guys getting in. I think it's well deserved for everybody. And I'll be trying to tune in, at least catch some of the clips, see if I can catch some of the speeches for these guys. Brandon, you got any thoughts for the Hall of Fame class this year?
Yeah, Eric Allen, a little bit before my time. I do remember seeing some highlights for him. He also played for the Eagles. Sterling Sharp, well deserved. Um, Long time coming as well with him. Jared Allen, as you mentioned, Vikings, Chiefs, wherever he was a force there on the defensive line. And Antonio Gates, probably the one I remember the most because right around that time it was him and Tony Gonzalez,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely assaulting defenses. Like he's part of the reason why we've never had good linebacker coverage in the pass game. People like him, man. I was watching a little bit of a documentary on him yesterday before the Hall of Fame game. They talked about how his rookie season, how he struggled just transitioning from basketball to football, and again getting back to Tony Gonzalez. Both of those guys played college ball,
Yeah.
basketball. So that those days when they had him, Philip Rivers, who I could not stand, um, and Ladainian Tomlinson, man. Oh my goodness, the Chargers were on one day. I mean, I remember one year they was the number one seed with those three guys there on offense. Um, they didn't always have a good receiver during those days, but they had a good tight end, man. They had a hell of a tight end, and of course LT already in the Hall of Fame, and he was the one that basically surprised him and let him know that he was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. And before we leave this topic, man, they need to expand how many people they allow in each year. There's
Mm.
no reason why there's 4 to 6 people getting in every year, to me, in my opinion, when you had all these great players over the years, and then we have the conversations and they have the conversation on TV, how these guys just get skipped over and when is they're going to get in and all that stuff, and they got to wait and wait and wait. And the more they wait, the more other guys retire, and their 5-year eligibility comes in to where they're able to go in. So the older guys that haven't got in, for example, Sterling Sharp, continue to wait. Why don't we have more open slots? I mean, even if it's not a good year to where you don't have to have as many people, you could at least say, okay, let's open up to maybe 10 or 12. That's a good number, in my opinion. I just don't get it. I don't understand, but not my call, of course.
Yeah.
All right. Another step closer to NFL action, everyone. Preseason week 1 kicks off Thursday night. They have 3 games, including my Ravens. We play, I believe it's on the road. But as we were just talking about, the Hall of Fame ceremony is on Saturday. I'll be looking forward to that. I think it starts around noon or 1 o'clock. We'll be back next week. We'll be talking NFC West. Going to stay on the West Coast with another great division in football, one of the best as well. Please take a moment to hit the subscribe button on your screen. Follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Podcast B&E, and on IG at B&E Podcast. Until next time, love one another.